Hey friends, let's talk practical takeaways, specifically alternative paths. This is where it gets pretty creative, and I think that I love this chapter in the book because oftentimes we'll look at a situation and we'll just say, "There's not a way. There's not a way for me to be on there. There's not a way for me to connect with students." But yet, I love in Tradecraft because you don't give anyone an out. It's like, no, there's alternate paths. Let's think creatively about how we can engage with students. You mentioned a couple of things is, hey, possibly take a class, get a job on campus, do some of these things, because this will actually help you become a part of the tribe of, the campus.
It's funny because a lot of times if you just show up on campus, it's like, who are you? Stranger danger. Like, what's going on here? But if you have a reason to be there, then it's like, oh yeah, he's the security guard or he's the local business owner. And so it's all about establishing a presence. Now, missionaries around the world have to do this, especially in places where you can't show up and say, I'm a missionary, right? And so you have to find another reason to be there. And it's not just a cover, it's a real legitimate thing. And yet so often in collegiate ministry, it's like, we struggle with this. And so I would encourage anyone, churches especially, who want to engage in collegiate ministry, find a need to meet, an opportunity to serve the community, and a reason to be on campus. And that alone just can lead to all kinds of breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And I think probably a good way to, I think if you're struggling, you're like, well, I don't even know where to start. Maybe I don't have money for education. I've already got a job. Maybe you're thinking all those things. Well, I think probably a good idea was, why don't you start surveying some people in your church, see what kind of campus connections there are. Maybe there's someone who has a business that's connected, or maybe, and they're looking for interns. I don't know, something. We'll figure out what are the ways that there's connections to campus, and how can you begin to do a ministry that's, again, like you said, like, this is not just a facade. We're like legitimately having something that's going to serve the body, or serving the body and the body of the school in some way, but also as a way for you to connect with the students and to minister to them in a real way. I'm even thinking about, I know one school does, and this is a little bit different, but they, after football games, they will go and clean up the stadium. It's just another way to serve the campus, be on there, find an alternative path to be there and to serve that place. And I even know of a couple of places that actually have people with businesses that set up like a residency or an internship program that students can come through and learn in leadership skills. And every college student needs an internship.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think even if you could have someone in your church that had a business of some sort to help them get those internship hours, that would be incredible.
Yeah, and again, when you have something that a student can benefit from, and you will willingly give it and provide it, I think that's your platform. That's your reason to be there. And alternative paths isn't always, again, about dreaming up creative things. It's not the most outlandish thing we can think of. And sometimes it's the simple things, just showing up, helping students move in and move out of student housing. Those kinds of things that really put ourselves as providing a service, and really a servant posture, right? Which is what we want. So I would say the alternative paths, and two, you mentioned it, I love it. Look at a church, not just at the individual. Like I'm a college minister, so it's about what I have and what I'm capable of. No, look at the wealth of opportunity in our churches, and people who can make meals that you can deliver, people who can have a pickup truck and help move. There's just all kinds of things. Our churches are full of resources that we can bring to bear and provide us a reason to be there, so that we have interaction with college students, and then we can share the gospel and demonstrate it with our lives.
And I've seen a couple of places do this. Like even recently, there's been some unrest in our nation. There's been protests going on. So I was a church that I work with. They had some protests that were happening on campus, and so they actually took water out to the protesters. Now, adults going onto a campus is always a weird thing, but when you're serving them water, it's like, okay, I like you, you're in. I'd like some water. Yeah. And even as you said with like student move-in stuff, that's totally true. It's like, well, you're an adult. What are you doing? Oh, you're going to help me carry these up the flight of stairs? Yeah, you're in, and there's like an in with that.
That's right.
And so I think figuring out, what are these alternative paths to reaching students? And I really think that that's actually a student seeing you as a believer, going this extra mile to serve them, and not just try to get something from them like, hey, come to my thing, but posturing yourself in that Philippians 2 mindset That's huge.
It really is, and it's the posture that Jesus took, right? And so we want to take that same posture.
Yeah.
I also think, international students, we haven't talked a lot about that, but statistics show that rarely do they ever see the inside of an American home.
Wow.
So they come to America, they 4 years to study, and then they go back home. They've never been inside a Christian home, a home at all. They've never heard the gospel. They've never even met a Christian. I mean, that's on us. And so we have opportunity to say, look, there's all kinds of programs, there are international student programs where we can reach out, open our homes, be hospitable, and help serve students in that way. And even, just our presence, again, through official channels, where we're vetted, like, I mean you no harm, here's who I am.
Yeah.
But doing that and being consistent about it. Not the drive-by, we spent one weekend and now that's our college ministry, but it's an ongoing, consistent sort of thing that's investing in students with no bait and switch, nothing expected in return, can yield tremendous results. And it's more touch with them, it's more interaction with them, it's more them being around people who love Jesus, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, that is good. And I think as you're thinking about alternative paths, consider just stopping and asking people in your church to figure out maybe there's campus connections that are already there that maybe you didn't know were there, and really figure out how can we love and serve students or be kind of a part of that tribe in different ways, maybe that are outside of the traditional way that you're thinking of being a college minister. And I think it's really important to have that Philippians 2 mindset. Just as Jesus kind of lowered himself to serve us, that's really the posture that we have to take as we're ministering to college students. And I really think just that humility and that and just kind of that integrity is really attractive to students, and I think will really be able to help you do ministry on your campus.